Hi everyone, a bitch is back talking about books. I'm back here again with another book review, and today what we're going to be talking about is the second book in the To Love and Hate series, I think it's called, To Hate Adam Connor. If you watch all of my YouTube videos, you'll see that I talked about reading 3 romance books basically in 3 days, which is a lot for me because I'm a very slow reader. I literally spent all day and night reading. Out of the 3 books that I read, this one was my absolute favorite. I devoured this book, and I feel like it doesn't get enough credit than the first book, To Love Jason Thorne. I think To Hate Adam Connor is the superior of the two, and it sucks that it's not as acknowledged as much as the first one. I absolutely ate this book up, and I think Adam Connor is so much better than Jason Thorne. Woo! He was having me sweating. He was having me feeling some type of way. Anyways, out of the 3 books I read, Jason Thorne, Fix Her Up, and Hate Adam Connor, this was my favorite of the weekend, I guess, in my bed, literally just reading my heart out. So this one is basically an enemies to lovers. It's basically a hate to love. It's not really enemies. Like, they're not enemies. They just don't like each other at first. It's a hate to love romance book. It's a neighbors book because they're neighbors. A celebrity one because he's a celebrity. A dill slow burn, I'd say. I think Ella Mays is pretty slow burn. If you read To Love Jason Thorne, it follows Olive's best friend Lucy. So this follows Lucy. She moves in to Olive and Jason, who's this like star mega celebrity. Lucy moves into her best friend Olive's house with her boyfriend, or with her husband, Jason, and stays there for a while she's figuring shit out, while she's like living her life. Next thing you know, in walks Adam Connor, who is also a famous actor who just moved in next door after his divorce from his 6-year relationship with another actress, Adelaine Young, I think is her name. So Adelaine Young, if you want to know the backstory with Adam, they had a kid very, very young. They got married, and then now they're going through a divorce. And so Adam is newly single and moved in next door to Jason and Olive, and now Lucy, because Lucy moved in with Olive and Jason. So Lucy, she's a very intense personality, and I think this is also why I really liked this book, because the characters in this book were so much better developed than Jason and Olive. Jason and Olive kind of felt like self-inserts, really, especially Olive. Olive felt really self-insert, and Jason felt like you can kind of trade him in for any hot celebrity you can think of. Like, oh, Jason, he can be Chris Evans, like, you know, things like that. With Lucy and Adam, I feel like there was a lot more specificity to their life and to like their struggles and their internal conflicts. A lot more that they felt like more realized people and realized characters, and I really, really loved that. The tension in this book was so good. Oh my god, like, I really loved the tension in this book. The tension in the first book was also very, very good, so I will give Ella Mays for that. Ella Mays writes amazing scenes. Like, each and every scene within itself are really good, and the tension is so good. This book in particular, because of how sassy and how much of a fireball Lucy is, you really fall in love with her. The banter was so good. It was off the charts. I loved the banter in this. The smut, oh my god, it was so good. I was freaking sweating. I was sweating. It was so good. I'm gonna stay up at night thinking about that shit. Like, it was so good. A1 smut. Okay? It was really, really good. And usually I'm not the biggest fan of kids in books, or in general. Okay? Actually, I love kids in general, like in real life. But in books, sometimes they're annoying as fuck. But this kid in this book, because Adam is a dad, right, is the cutest kid ever. He is one of my favorite, he is a favorite kid for me in a book. Like, I love I love this kid. Like, he's so good. There's just so many wholesome scenes. Like, so there's this one scene of like a water gun fight with the whole family, and I was just like, oh, my heart, like, it was so good. Like, so okay, let me get into the actual review. Like, I kind of went on tangents, but I really, really liked this book. It just made my heart feel so full. I gave this book in total a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it was really well done. The characters more realized. Yeah, it was just good. It was just better overall than like everything else that I read this weekend. Adam is so swoon-worthy. Like, the way that their relationship progressed was really, was pretty slow. I like that even though it is an enemies to lovers, like, so in the beginning they don't like each other. They literally basically hate each other at the beginning. Like, even after they start to fall in love with each other, start to like each other, they still have that banter back and forth with each other, and it's still really good. The, like, quotes in this book are really good too. Like, I don't even know what to say. He says something like this, and I was like, I'm swooning. I'm swooning. He says, Lucy, tell me you hate me. I don't care. I'd rather have you lie and say you hate me than have someone else who lies by saying I love you. How this book starts out is Lucy is a fireball, so she loves to sleep around. Nothing wrong with that. She's having fun, but she's never really opened her heart to anybody because she feels like there's this curse in her family. Things are temporary, basically, and like love just isn't in the cards for her. She truly believes in this curse in her family. She just broke up with her ex-boyfriend Jameson, and she was heartbroken because she gave her heart to him, but he had to move for a job. So Jameson moves away, so that's why she lives next door with Olive and Jason. And when Adam moves in, he's hot, you know? So he starts stalking him, basically. Not something you should do. Should not be stalking people, but she does it anyway. And one day, after basically looking over the fence and like spying on Adam and his kid, Aiden, which is the kid, he falls into the pool and no one is around. He almost drowns, so Lucy hops over the fence. It's like, shit, like, I have to save him. Hops over the fence and saves Aiden from drowning. And what does she get for it? She gets arrested because she did stalk him. And so after that is when Adam and Lucy have a whole thing of not liking each other. Like, they don't like each other at all. They hate each other. Lucy says it over and over. Even though he's hot and I would totally fuck him, she says that. I hate him. I hate him with my whole heart. Like, I hate him. And that is kind of how the book starts. Then, as time goes on, Aiden starts to really like Lucy, and Lucy's also looking for a job, so Adam, the dad, I know Aiden, Adam, like, the names are very similar. Adam says, hey Lucy, like, if you want, you can babysit for a little bit while I'm out of town, because he's an actor, while I'm like doing this thing out of town before you can find another job. Like, you can go watch him. So within that time frame, Lucy and Aiden get closer together, like Lucy and the kid. And so after that, I think Adam starts to fall for Lucy, like, oh my god, she's like really good with the kid and this and this and that, and I really like her fireball personality. I don't know, their chemistry is just really good. And there are, basically it's a slow burn following this. There's like a scene where Adam rescues her from being R-worded by another actor at like a party, and they kind of get closer after that. So there are trigger warnings when it comes to SA and the R word. Lucy is also the person who's like, I can take care of myself. I don't need anyone else to rescue me. And I think Adam probably falls for that as well. And then one day, like, she sees Olive and Jason like dancing to no music. She gets in her feels. She is obviously, even though she hates the guy, she hates Adam, Lucy comes over and like is lusting after him still. She's like, you know, I wish I could have that, but I can't. And they kind of both open up to each other one night, and opening up to each other, they kind of see how they both have the same conflict. And I wish they did go more into detail about how they are similar in this way, Lucy and Adam, because Lucy talks about how growing up her grandmother was basically the only one who wanted her because her mom kind of abandoned her. Her father didn't really want her, so she was kind of shipped off with her grandmother, but her grandmother also kind of had a spitting image of like what she wanted Lucy to be and like follow specifically in the footsteps of her grandmother and like follow the timeline her grandmother wanted, which I get, like I can relate to. And so Lucy opens up to Adam about that, and Adam's like, I understand you, like I feel the same way. And they really bond over that because in that reality they are very similar. Adam kind of grew up feeling abandoned as well, I guess you could say, because he grew up in a very well-known family where the spotlight was always on them. So he felt very used. He just wanted to be a normal person because the people around him, even his parents, he either felt neglected or felt like he was being used in the way that he had to go into premieres and like have this sort of image, and that was the reason why his parents would do certain things, was that so they can put out a certain image instead of thinking about what was good for him growing up. And so with his kid, with Aiden, Adam, with Aiden, he didn't want that for him. He wanted Aiden to feel loved, put first, and he felt like with his ex-wife, there's a lot of tension with the ex-wife, and there's like a whole side plot of Adam trying to fight for sole custody of the kid. And also Lucy reveals that she's pregnant. And I was like, oh no, not the pregnancy trope. But I kind of liked it in this because he's already a dad. So I was like, okay, pregnancy trope doesn't really bother me that much in this. However, I was still kind of annoyed, even though it was a scare. Like, spoiler alert, this whole video is a spoiler alert. It was a scare. It was a pregnancy scare. Like, she actually wasn't pregnant. It obviously wasn't Adam's because they didn't have sex yet at that point. And he basically spends the second half of the book saying, like, I don't play games. I like you. I like you. I know you like me, but you're scared of opening your heart. I'll be there for you. I'll open up your heart, blah, blah, blah. If you really think on it, like, this book is a very simple story. It's so simple. It's just two people, scene after scene, slowly liking each other. I just think it's like, for this book specifically, it's in the little moments that you really like this book. The banter was just so good, and the story as a whole is kind of like super simple, I guess. I think it was just pretty well done. It was a lot more well done than Ella Mais's To Love Jason Thorne's book. And I didn't have many problems with this one like the first book, because the first book had a lot of consent issues. It had a lot of weird stalkerish issues and like insta love issues. With this one, I felt the exact opposite. Yes, the characters are more fully realized in the first one. It's not to the point where it could be, like in an Emily Henry book or in a Tessa Bailey book or other things like that, but I think their character work was there, and their personality did shine through the pages, through the banter, and I loved that. And they had really good banter, and the moments within the scenes were really well done, to the point where I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Like, I really liked it. And I thought it was really wholesome, and I would read it again. Yeah, that's basically my thoughts on this book. I'm sorry, like, I've been filming all day today basically and talking for like 3 hours straight. It's kind of dead tired and my thoughts are kind of everywhere. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on what I thought of this book. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've ever read this book, please let me know your thoughts below, because I really want to hear it. Like, I'm really sorry this video was very chaotic. I'll reply back to comments if I feel fit to do it, to like add other things that I thought about this book, or like certain scenes that you might have liked or disliked. Like, if you totally disagree with me, please let me know, but also be respectful because I'm sensitive. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and liking, comment, subscribe, etc., etc. Do what you will, whatever YouTubers say, and I will see you in the next one.